The 2006 Saints started to take shape on January 18th with the hiring of Sean Payton as head coach.
Not one for fancy speeches or motivational gimmicks. I believe in the process. I believe in preparation. I believe in attention to detail.
His coaching staff was led by offensive coordinator Doug Marrone and defensive leader Gary Gibbs. The overhauling of the roster included the release of quarterback Aaron Brooks and defensive tackle Jonathan Sullivan, amongst others. Pro Bowl guard and center Charles Bentley and defensive end Darren Howard left in free agency. Free agent signings included linebackers Scott Fujita and Scott Shanley, center Jeff Fain. And on March 14th, former Chargers quarterback Drew Brees, who was coming off of shoulder surgery, he received a 6-year, $60 million deal. At the April 29th college draft, the Houston Texans had the first overall pick and went with defensive end Mario Williams, opening the door for the Saints at number 2 to get running back Reggie Bush from USC. Other noteworthy picks included second-rounder safety Roman Harper, guard Jari Evans in the 4th, and in the 7th round, wide receiver Marcus Colston and tackle Zach Street. The team played its 2 preseason home games in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Jackson, Mississippi, which would also be the home of Saints training camp at Millsaps College. On August 28th, Payton traded wide receiver Dante Stallworth to the Eagles in return for linebacker Mark Simoneau and a 4th-round draft choice. The Saints' regular season started on September 10th at the Browns in a 19-14 victory. Defensive back Josh Bullocks had an interception with 1:43 left to seal the contest. The Saints defense had 5 sacks. A 34-27 win in Green Bay would follow. On Monday night, September 25th, the Saints made their long-awaited return to the Louisiana Superdome.
This is Jim Henderson. On October 16th, a year ago, it appeared at the time that the city of New Orleans would lose its franchise. San Antonio Mayor Phil Hardberger announced he would begin negotiations with Benson after the season, and he had been given a great deal of encouragement that a deal could be struck. Among the many emotions I felt that day was sorrow. Sorrow for a Saint fan base that I was convinced was still there. It was a fan base that was displaced by the storm, disappointed by the team's failures, and disaffected from a quarterback it could no longer root for, a coach it no longer believed in, and an owner it could no longer trust. The shame of losing the team because the fans were being blamed for non-support under those conditions would have been so unfair. I believe that if some of those impediments could be changed, most of the fans would come back. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that all of those impediments would be changed and all of the fans would be back in numbers greater than ever before.
You know, momentum was going the Saints' way when the Falcons' first possession ended at their own 29-yard line and were forced to punt.
3 and out for the Falcons and Vic. Here's Keenan to punt. The Saints break on top.
The Steve Gleason block became the exclamation point on the fans' enthusiasm. But the excitement wasn't done yet. With 3:04 left in the first quarter, a double reverse from the Saints' 11-yard line called the Superdome Special would also result in a score.
Bush is lined up to the right as a wide receiver. They give it to him on an end around. He gives it to Devery Henderson for the reverse. Brees throws a ball in, and Henderson's to the goal line, and he is in! Razzle dazzle, baby! Razzle dazzle!
Final score, Saints 23-3. Here's Steve Gleason after the game.
Just drawn up well. We knew that was kind of one of their weaknesses. And bottom line, man, I'm just so proud of this team, coaching staff, the city of New Orleans. I just feel a ton of relief and joy.
A loss at Carolina would follow, then a win over Tampa Bay, thanks in part to this play with 4:33 to go.
That's a high floater. He's going to have some room here. Takes it up to 35. He's got a ball. Reggie Bush gets another block. Reggie Bush will score 65 yards.
On October 15th, the Saints defeat the Eagles in the Dome 27-24 thanks to the Saints offense keeping the ball for the last 8:26 of the game, sealed on a John Carney 31-yard field goal. Wide receiver Joe Horn has 2 touchdown catches and would miss playing time for much of the season's remainder stemming from injury. The Saints would slide from 5-1 to 6-4 with 3 losses to AFC North opponents Baltimore, where the Ravens defense ran back 2 interceptions for touchdowns, Cincinnati, where Brees set a then club record 510 passing yards, plus Bengals wide receiver Chad Johnson had 190 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Pittsburgh, where the Saints lost 3 fumbles, including their last drive, where wide receiver Terrence Copper fumbles at the Steelers' 25-yard line with 39 seconds to go. The Saints picked up the pace with the win at Atlanta and at home over the 49ers 34-10, where Reggie Bush had 131 receiving yards, 3 touchdown runs, and a touchdown catch to tie the club record for most TDs in a game. Cornerback Mike McKenzie had 2 interceptions. On December 10th, the Saints traveled to Dallas, where Sean Payton used to be offensive coordinator for Cowboys head coach Bill Parcells, and the Saints walked away with a 42-17 victory, which included Drew Brees throwing 5 touchdown passes, some of which were scored by fullback Mike Carney.
The fake to McAllister, then the pass caught by Carney. Carney is playing his 44th career game. He has never touched the ball this often in an entire game. Brees goes over the middle. That's caught at the 6-yard line. There's Jones again for the touchdown. And here's Bush. And the Heisman Trophy winner off to the races again inside the 20. Cuts it back. Touchdown. 2nd and goal. Brees throws. Carney again. Signals touchdown. The Saints up 35-17. And an onside kick attempt here. Jay Bellamy winds up with it. And that is caught by Henderson in between 2 Cowboys. And before they can touch him, he's into the end zone for a touchdown.
Following a home loss to the Redskins 16-10, the Saints won at the New York Giants on Christmas Eve 30-7, where for only the 3rd time in Saints history they had 2 100-yard rushers in Bush and McAllister. Saints defense had 3 turnovers and held the Giants to only 6 first downs. The club finished 10-6 and claimed their 3rd ever division title, along with their 1st ever first-round playoff bye week as the number 2 overall seed. January 13, 2007, the Saints host the Eagles in divisional playoff round action. The Philadelphia defense had 3 sacks, running back Brian Westbrook 2 touchdown runs, ex-Saint Dante Stallworth a 75-yard touchdown catch, the Saints counter with a Reggie Bush rushing touchdown, 2 John Carney field goals, plus Deuce McAllister with 143 rushing yards, a touchdown run, and a touchdown catch. With 3:24 to go, this costly turnover occurs.
2nd and 7 from the Eagle 32. Reggie Bush is the tailback. Gonna pitch it to Reggie. It goes through his hands. No. And it's covered by the Eagles at the 44-yard line.
What Reggie Bush did, he took his eyes off of the football as that pitch was coming back to him because he had so much open ground to the outside.
First turnover of this ball game.
It would be recovered by former Saints defensive end Darren Howard. On the ensuing Eagles possession, the Saints defense would hold, but on 4th down and 10 from their own 44-yard line, the Eagles appear to have made a first down on a pass from Jeff Garcia to Hank Baskett, but a false start penalty nullified the play. Eagles coach Andy Reid elects to punt, to which the Saints only need to make a first down to seal the win.
All right, here we go. 3rd and 1 from the 31-yard line. Ends in tight with the exception of Colston. Miller goes in motion. Eagles sell out on the blitz, and there's Deuce with the carry to the 36-yard line, and a Saints first down. Saints fans on their feet, hugging their neighbors. So agreement is all around. Me and you. I will go there.
Final score, Saints 27-24, ironically the same as the 2 clubs' earlier meeting that season. 8 days later, the Saints would lose in the NFC Championship game in Chicago 39-14. The Bears' momentum was too difficult to stop from the late 3rd quarter onward. Their defense would have a total of 3 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. No matter how you add up the numbers, it was a season that was certainly more than expected for Saints fans. And now it's time for another Saints timeout. What we will describe as the second version of the Voodoo returned to New Orleans for the 2007 season under Tom Benson's ownership and head coach Mike New. The club started 4-4, only to falter to 5-11. Fullback James Lynch made the league all-rookie team. Quarterback time was split between Andy Kelly and Steve Bellisari. Receiving leaders were Tyrone Jones, Kenny Henderson, Wendell Williams, and James Jordan. Jones and Henderson also led in return yardage. Defenders Rock Haith and Chris Brown led in tackles. Henry Taylor had 8 sacks. The 2008 Voodoo started started off 7-2 but faltered once again to finish 8-8. Linebacker Norman Lejeune made the second-team All-Arena and All-Rookie teams. James Lynch had 133 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. Quarterback Danny Wimprine had 85 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions. James Jordan and Javaris Dudley each had over 1,000 receiving yards and a combined 51 touchdowns. Wendell Williams led in returns. Mikael Spicer had 6.5 sacks. Calvin Spears 7 interceptions, and Lynn J. Shell with 112.5 total tackles. On October 13, 2008, Tom Benson announces the Voodoo is ceasing operations, which reports later state was over a disagreement with the Arena League front office wanting to sell a $100 million stake to Platinum Equity, which wanted to reorganize the league into a single-entity business model that would de-emphasize independent ownership of franchises. Leading into the second version of the New Orleans Voodoo, the Arena Football League decided to start making its championship game a neutral site affair where it would be put up for bid what city would host. New Orleans would end up hosting 3 of those championships, starting with Arena Bowl 21 on July 29th of 2007. The head coach of the San Jose SaberCats was Darren Arbit, and his team would defeat the Columbus Destroyers 55-33, and San Jose quarterback Mark Grebe was named the game MVP. This was also the first neutral site Arena Bowl game to sell out its seating capacity. A year later came Arena Bowl 22, which was another sellout. This had head coach Brent Muncie and his Philadelphia Soul defeating the San Jose SaberCats 59-56, where Soul quarterback Matt D'Orazio was named game MVP. Despite the Soul having a 59-42 lead with under 39 seconds left, San Jose made it close with 2 touchdowns in an 11-second span, only to fall short on a second onside kick attempt. And finally, on August 10th of 2012, Arena Bowl 25 had the Arizona Rattlers, led by head coach Kevin Guy, defeat the Philadelphia Soul 72-54, with Soul quarterback Nick DeValia being named game MVP. The offseason leading into 2007 featured the departure of wide receiver Joe Horn over failing his 2006 end-of-season physical, as well as chemistry issues with coach Sean Payton. The Saints in turn signed wide receiver David Patton. The 2007 Saints started the regular season on a Thursday night at defending Super Bowl champion Indianapolis Colts. The score was tied at 10 thanks to former Colt turned Saints free agent signee cornerback Jason David running back a 55-yard fumble return for a touchdown. The Colts and quarterback Peyton Manning won 41-10 by targeting David in the second half and gave a blueprint to opposing offenses during David's 2-year Saints career. The Saints fell to 0-4, which included a home contest on October 7 versus Carolina, where Saints Olindo Mare missed a 54-yard field goal with 2:19 left, allowing for the Panthers to use the clock and win the game 16-13 on a last play John Casey 52-yard field goal. The Saints signed Mare, for he had a stronger leg than John Carney, but an apparent hip injury left him rather erratic. He would be placed on IR with 3 weeks left in the regular season and replaced with Martin Gramatica. The club rebounded to win their next 4 in a row, including a 41-24 win over Jacksonville, with the Saints defense having 3 interceptions, which included a cornerback Mike McKenzie's 75-yard interception return for touchdown. The Saints lost the next week in the Superdome 37-29 to the Rams, who scored 34 unanswered points. St. Louis featured ex-Saints head coach turned defensive coordinator Jim Haslett. The Saints would falter to finish 7-9. The game that symbolized the frustrating season was December 2nd versus Tampa Bay. The Saints took a 1-point lead with 3:15 left in the third quarter, thanks to cornerback Mike McKenzie.
McCown gets it off, throws, it's intercepted by Mike McKenzie. He's got blockers. McKenzie all the way, touchdown Saints.
The run back covered 53 yards. With 3:52 left in the game, defensive end Will Smith scored a safety to put New Orleans up by 3. The Bucks free kick to the Saints, and with 3:36 to go from the Saints' own 49-yard line,
Reggie Bush, loose ball. Bucks recover the first turnover of the game. What kind of play was that?
I don't get that play call.
Javon Hay recovered the fumble.
You got Reggie Bush trying to not hand it off, but toss it back on an end around?
I don't understand that play at all.
the Bucks recovered at the Saints' 37-yard line, would slowly drive down the field and score from 4 yards out with 17 seconds left.
Smith motion, so does Jeremy Stevens. 3 tight ends in for Stevens.
Oh, what a catch!
What a catch by Jeremy Stevens for a touchdown against Jason Kraft, the man who was in for Mike McKenzie.
Final score, Buccaneers 27, Saints 23. Right afterwards, Sean Payton stated it was by far the worst coaching job he had ever done in any game in his career. In the season closer, a 33-25 loss at Chicago, running back Pierre Thomas had a rare milestone. He had over 100 yards rushing with 105 and over 100 receiving yards of 121. The 2008 Saints began retooling on February 29th by trading a future 3rd and 4th round pick to the Jets in return for linebacker Jonathan Vilma. On July 21st, the Giants got a 2nd and 5th round pick in return for tight end Jeremy Shockey, who later developed a sports hernia that hampered his 2008 campaign, including missing 5 games. The Saints college draft selections included 1st rounder defensive tackle Cedric Ellis, cornerback Tracy Porter in the 2nd, and guard Carl Nix in the 6th round. The Saints won on opening day September 7th versus Tampa Bay 24-20. Reggie Bush catches a 42-yard touchdown to take the lead, which was sealed on this play with 44 seconds left.
Intercepted by Scott Fujita. They celebrate. It's great for the New Orleans defense to be able to step up and make a stop like that.
The loss followed next week at Washington 29-24. Bush had a 55-yard punt return for touchdown, and Jonathan Vilma had 16 tackles. The Redskins kept the lead for good by scoring 2 touchdowns in a 3-minute span in the 4th quarter. Washington safety Chris Horton has 2 interceptions. Another tough loss the next week at Denver 34-32, where a 43-yard Martin Gramatica field goal attempt is missed with 2 minutes to go. Broncos linebacker Nate Webster had a 34-yard fumble return for TD. On September 28th, the Saints win at home over the 49ers 31-17. Saints defense had 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. On Monday night, October 6th, Reggie Bush scores 2 touchdowns on punt returns.
His hands on this one at the 30. Reggie's got 2 blocks ahead of him. Can he get him? There's 2. Reggie Bush, see you later. Touchdown. By the way, don't kick to Reggie Bush right now. They did, Mike. It was a line drive. 40-yarder. Reggie cuts it up the middle. Explodes. And Bush has another. Reggie Bush. He's done it again. Touchdown. Wow.
And is later named NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Vikings cornerback Antoine Winfield has a 59-yard blocked field goal run back for a TD.
46-yarder for the 9th-year veteran Martin Gramatica. This kick is blocked and in the air on flank. Antoine Winfield will put the Vikings right to even. Touchdown. That's a stunner.
The Vikings defense has 2 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles. With the game tied, Saints Martin Gramatica misses a 46-yard field goal with 2:04 to go, to which he is released the next day. The Vikings would slowly drive down the field, and largely thanks to a pass interference penalty on safety Kevin Casefaharn, Vikings kicker Ryan Longwell was able to get into field goal range and make the winning 30-yarder with 16 seconds left. Final score, Vikings 30-27. After a win at Oakland and a loss at Carolina, it was off to London, England versus San Diego, where Jonathan Vilma makes the key play with 1:08 to go.
Rivers lofts it, tipped, and intercepted. It's Vilma with the interception for the Saints.
He went with the jump pass one more time. There were more people underneath playing the situation, and Jim, they finally tipped the football.
It actually touched 3 different Saints.
Drew Brees is named NFC Offensive Player of the Week with 3 touchdown passes. Brees takes a safety late in the game, and subsequent Chargers Big Ben pass on the last play fails. Final score, Saints 37-32. Saints punter Steve Weatherford was cut over not getting a passport before the overseas trip. He was replaced with Ben Graham, who plays for the Saints this one game. The previous week, the Saints brought in Taylor Melhoff as the new kicker. On November 9th, the Saints lose at Atlanta 34-20. Brees has 3 interceptions, including a 95-yard run back for touchdown by Falcons' Chavis Jackson. Saints have a new kicker in the contest in Garrett Hartley and a new punter in Glenn Pakulak. After a win at Kansas City, the Saints run over the Packers on Monday night, November 24th, 51-29, tying a then-club record for most points in a game. Running back Deuce McAllister would set an all-time Saints record in the game.
2nd and goal. They'll give it to McAllister. To the goal line. Deuce. Saints record. Touchdown. Most touchdowns, New Orleans Saints history.
The score was his 54th touchdown from scrimmage in his Saints career. He had missed a large part of 2007 with a knee injury. Quarterback Jason David ran back an interception to set up the score. He had 5 interceptions on the season. The next week, the Saints lose in the rain at Tampa Bay 23-20. Buck safety Jermaine Phillips has an interception that sets up Matt Bryant's 37-yard field goal with 2 minutes left. A 29-25 win over Atlanta in the Superdome follows, then a tough overtime loss at Chicago on Thursday night, December 11th. Besides the Bears Bears having a kickoff return for touchdown, they used up the last 3:05 of regulation to drive downfield to kick a 28-yard tying field goal. Then win the toss in overtime and don't give up the ball, driving for the winning 35-yard field goal by Robbie Gould. That was in part set up by this penalty.
Play fake, Orton back to throw. Has time, looking deep. Devin Hester downfield. And Hester does not make the catch with a flag. Roman Harper going to get called for interference. The back judge said you grabbed his hand. All right, now officially from 35 to win it here in overtime. Snap is good. Kick on its way. And the Chicago Bears have defeated the New Orleans Saints 27-24.
The loss eliminated the Saints from playoff contention. The next week, in a 42-7 win at 0-14 Detroit, the Saints did not punt, and running back Pierre Thomas ties a team record with scoring a touchdown in 6 consecutive games. Saints close out the season with a 33-31 loss to Carolina, despite the Saints scoring 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Carolina's last possession started with 3:11 to go from their own 18-yard line and drove to the Saints' 25.
42-yard attempt. John Casey. Ball is placed down, and Casey's kick is good with 1 second remaining.
Jonathan Vilma had 13 tackles, Roman Harper 10. Drew Brees sets team season records, including 34 touchdown passes in 10 games with 300 or more passing yards. He also finishes the season with 5,069 passing yards, second most in NFL history at the time. He would have broken the record on the game's last play, but wide receiver Lance Moore dropped the ball. It was a struggling season, especially on defense and special teams, but fans would be well rewarded as the calendar changed to 2009. The offseason leading into the 2009 campaign included offensive coordinator Doug Marrone leaving, replaced by assistant coach Pete Carmichael Jr. Defensive coordinator Gary Gibbs is released and replaced with Greg Williams, where Sean Payton agrees to give up some of his salary to go towards Williams's. Free agent signings included safety Darren Sharper, cornerback Jabari Greer, fullback Heath Evans, defensive lineman Anthony Hardgrove, and special team snapper Jason Kyle, who replaced 9-year veteran Kevin Hauser. 2009 Saints draft choices included first-rounder cornerback Malcolm Jenkins and 5th-round punter Thomas Morstead. The club's training camp was moved back to their Metairie facilities. Before season start, kicker Garrett Hartley is suspended for the first 4 games over testing positive for a banned substance. John Carney is brought back to replace him. On opening day, September 13th, Saints defeat the Lions in the Superdome 45-27. Saints offense has 515 total yards, and quarterback Drew Brees ties a club record and sets an opening day NFL record with 6 touchdown passes. To the tight end Jeremy Shockey, running back Mike Bell has 143 yards. Saints defense has 3 interceptions and holds the Lions to 33 rushing yards.
In the pocket down the middle. He's got it. Devery Henderson, it's a touchdown save. If you give Drew Brees time in the pocket to where he can step up, this offensive line has done a great job all day. He has yet to be sacked. 58 yards.
A week later at Philadelphia, despite the Eagles having 2 100-yard receivers in Brent Selleck and Deshaun Jackson, the Saints win big 48-22. Wide receiver Marcus Colston has 2 touchdown catches in the first half. Second half rushing TDs by Mike Bell and Reggie Bush. Thomas Morstead averages 50.3 yards per punt. And safety Darren Sharper runs back an interception 97 yards for a touchdown, which ties Tommy Meyer's club record. Tracy Porter also has an interception.
Here's an interception by Cobb, his second of the day. And who else? Darren Sharper still going. Cobb is the only guy who can bring him down. And he cannot. Darren Sharper, that's his 9th interception for a touchdown in his career. And his 57 interceptions lead all active players.
A 27-7 win at Buffalo followed, where the Saints defense has 4 sacks, Charles Grant has 2, and defensive end Will Smith has an interception. The Saints defense also ends the streak of Bills wide receiver Terrell Owens with 185 consecutive games played with a catch. Saints running back Pierre Thomas has 2 rushing touchdowns in the second half, and the Saints end up with 222 rushing yards.
Thomas, the run killing Buffalo. Thomas cuts back. He's looking end zone. Pierre Thomas scores. Touchdown Saints. 34 yards.
You watch Heath Evans. He's going to lead this thing and put the block on Ellison. And how long can this Bills defense keep holding up? Well, there's the answer.
On October 4th, the Saints won 24-10 over the Jets. The Saints defense would have 3 interceptions and 4 sacks, as well as these 2 defensive touchdowns.
Sanchez throwing, intercepted at the goal line. Picked off by Darren Sharper. Sharper up the sideline. Sanchez not going to get him. This is going to be about a 98 or 99-yard return. And all he did
was placed center field, but Darren Sharper just read the eyes all the way of Mark Sanchez. He never looked off, never looked away, and that was awfully easy. Sanchez, look out, under pressure, got hit from behind, loose in the end zone, touchdown, New Orleans. Remy Adel pressed into a starting role with the injury to Kendrick Clancy, recovered the ball in the end zone.
2 weeks later, the Saints win at home over the Giants 48-27. Touchdown runs by Mike Bell, Reggie Bush, and Heath Evans. Drew Brees has 4 touchdown passes, and this game marks the start of his 54 consecutive games played streak with a touchdown pass. The game's first touchdown pass was to tight end Jeremy Shockey on a play called Fire 82X Banana.
Mike Bell checks back into the backfield out of the I formation behind Heath Evans. Play fake to him, looking for Shockey. Touchdown. Well, first and goal is the best time to run play action. It's hard on these linebackers. You got Clark trying to stay up with Shockey.
Saints defense has 2 sacks and Jabari Greer an interception. The comeback game of the year occurred at Miami on October 25th. Dolphins take a 24-3 first-half lead before the Saints gradually come back. Starting with this, Drew Brees' touchdown dive near the first half's end.
Quarterback sneak, touchdown Saints. Brees got over.
Brees would be sacked 5 times and would throw 3 interceptions. Other scores included.
Here comes the pressure on Henny, and this pass is intercepted. Sharper off a deflection, bringing it back for the Saints. Inside the 10-yard line, and Darren Sharper is in for the touchdown. And there's Brees, and touchdown to Marcus Colston. On an out pattern in the back of the end zone, a 10-yard touchdown throw, and there is the end around and a double reverse. Here is Reggie Bush on the double reverse inside the 10, dives in, and a touchdown signaled for the Saints. Tight formation, multiple tight ends. Pierre Thomas and a quarterback sneak and a touchdown for Drew Brees, his second of the game, and the Saints take their first lead. Here's Henny, and this pass is intercepted by Porter, Tracy Porter down the sideline, and he'll go in for the score. It'll be a 53-yard interception return.
Final score, Saints 46-34. Saints kicker John Carney becomes the 4th player in NFL history to score 2,000 career points. Ex-Saints running back Ricky Williams has 3 rushing touchdowns. Saints defensive lineman Anthony Hargrove has 2 sacks. Monday night, November 2nd at home versus Atlanta. Pierre Thomas has 2 touchdowns. Colston and Bush a touchdown each. Saints defense has 3 sacks and 3 interceptions, including this interesting 48-yard run back.
Ryan, intercepted. Going the other way with Jabari Greer. Touchdown. Killer. Touchdown for the Saints.
Falcons defense has 3 fumble recoveries, including 1 for a touchdown. The Falcons recover a late onside kick, but fall short on a Darren Sharper interception on the final play Big Ben attempt. Final score, Saints 35-27. Drew Brees throws to 8 different receivers. Falcons' Michael Turner has 151 yards, and wide receiver Roddy White 108. A week later, in a 30-20 win in the Superdome, Panthers running back D'Angelo Williams has 2 touchdowns, including a 66-yarder on the opening drive. Saints wide receiver Robert Meacham ties the game late in the 3rd quarter at 20 on this catch.
Brees down the middle of the field. What a catch by Meacham to the end zone.
Robert Meacham down the middle, great catch and run. This young man, they've had a lot of expectations for him. I don't think he's had a bigger play in a Saints uniform than that one.
The play covers 54 yards. With under 3 minutes to go to Saints punt, where the ball is down inside their 5-yard line. Shortly afterwards, the Saints would seal the win.
Ball is loose. Saints have it. D'Angelo Williams fumbled the football. Touchdown Saints. Anthony Hargrove, who will get credit for the touchdown. How about that in your first NFL start? He stripped it and picked it up and scored.
Saints defense has 4 forced fumbles, 3 of which turn into fumble recoveries. Defensive end Will Smith has 2 sacks. Saints tackles Jermon Bushrod and John Stinchcomb, guards Carl Nix and Jari Evans, plus center Jonathan Goodwin were named the most valuable protectors by John Madden for the 2009 season, where Drew Brees was sacked only 20 times. A somewhat amazing feat when you consider All-Pro tackle Jamal Brown was placed on injured reserve after 3 games. Others on IR during the campaign included return man Rod Harper, fullback Heath Evans, defensive lineman Kendrick Clancy, cornerback Lee Torrance, linebacker Jolon Dunbar, and defensive end Charles Grant. 7 players would be named to the Pro Bowl from this season: Drew Brees, Jari Evans, John Stinchcomb, Roman Harper, Darren Sharper, Jonathan Goodwin, and Jonathan Vilma. Evans and Sharper would be named to the first-team NFL All-Pro squad, Brees the second-team. A sloppy win the next week at the St. Louis Rams, 28-23. 3 turnovers kept the Rams in the contest. Their running back Steven Jackson had 131 yards. Saints' Courtney Roby made it interesting to start the second half.
Courtney Roby takes it on the run at the 5, gets across the 20, has an opening pass to 30. Brown cannot get him. Courtney Roby is gone. Courtney Roby, the 4th-year man out of Indiana. It's the first Saints kickoff return for a touchdown in nearly 5 years.
He would finish the game with 146 kick return yards. The touchdown run was for 97 yards. The Rams fail on a last play Big Ben pass attempt. The Saints defense has 2 sacks and an interception. A 38-7 win in Tampa Bay follows. The Saints defense has 3 sacks and 3 interceptions.
And the rush is on, and they got him. Big time rush that time, led by Will Smith. Freeman gets pressure, throws, intercepted by Malcolm Jenkins. Jenkins with a couple of blockers is out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Pressure, and they got him. Freeman is sacked. Lee Torrance got there first. The blitz coming, and they got him. The ball is popped loose. Is it a fumble? I think it's ruled a fumble, and it's recovered by the Saints. Scott Fujita blitzing from the outside. Freeman sends everybody out, throws too high for Clayton, and it was intercepted by Jonathan Vilma. Right here, young Josh Freeman. Quite a learning experience. Going deep, and it's intercepted by Chris Reese.
Then on Monday night, November 30th, the Saints defeat the Patriots 38-17, where Drew Brees is later named NFC Offensive Player of the Week and has a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3. Only the second time in Saints history a quarterback did that. The first time was Mike Buck in '93.
Here's Brees setting up a little screen to the near sideline to Thomas. Thomas stays on his feet, down to the 5, down to the goal line, and he plunges in for the touchdown. An 18-yard reception. Patriots twist up front. Brees going to throw down the seam. Wide open, Jeffrey Henderson. Nobody's within 20 yards of him. He could do the backstroke into the end zone from there, and he'll take it in for a 75-yard touchdown strike. Saints will go with 3 tight ends, I formation. Fake it to Bell. Brees looking long. Going for Meacham at the goal line. He's got it for the touchdown. A 38-yard strike to Robert Meacham, who has done it again. His 7th touchdown reception and his 5th in the last 4 games. Pumping once, throwing down the sideline, caught by Colston into Patriot territory. 40, 35-30, 25-20. Look at Marcus Colston go all the way down to the 6-yard line. Dinkins goes in motion, play action. Brees to throw, does over the middle, touchdown. Darnell Dinkins with his first reception as a Saint, and he's got to be the last guy on the Saints that the Patriots were looking for there. Brees pumps, now looks over the middle. He's got a receiver right at the goal line. That's Colston. He's in for the score. Another beautifully thrown ball by Drew Brees. Good for a 20-yard touchdown strike.
Jeffrey Henderson and Marcus Colston would go on to be dual 100-yard receivers in the contest. The Saints defense has 3 turnovers, including an interception by returning cornerback Mike McKenzie.
Brady steps up, throws, and it's intercepted. Mike McKenzie has it. Back in uniform, wearing number 34. He'll run to the near sideline and be taken down at the 40-yard line.
McKenzie had just joined the team since being cut before the regular season start. This game was the 2nd most watched scheduled cable television program at the time. Owner Tom Benson later stated that this was the game which convinced him that the Saints were definitely Super Bowl contenders. December the 6th, a memorable contest to say the least at the Washington Redskins. Drew Brees threw this interesting interception.
Brees, double pump, still can't find anybody. Retreats, throws it downfield into a crowd, and that is going to be intercepted. Coming up with it is Kareem Moore. Kareem Moore is going to have the ball taken away from him by Meacham. Meacham stole the ball. 10, 5, touchdown
Saints! My goodness!
Robert Meacham would run some 44 yards after taking the ball from Kareem Moore, and that would tie the game at 17 with 39 seconds left in the first half. With the Redskins up by 7 with just under 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, their kicker, Scott Swisham, has an opportunity to seal the game with a 23-yard field goal attempt.
Snap placement, kick is up, and it is no good. And the Saints still have life.
The surprising miss gave Drew Brees, who had 419 passing yards on the day, the opportunity to throw the tying touchdown with 1:27 to go.
Brees out of the shotgun, looks again, throws deep down the middle. Oh no! Meacham in stride, down to the 5, into the end zone, touchdown! Robert Meacham, what a day he has had! Drew Brees on a 53-yard strike.
And now with the score tied at 30, another interesting occurrence with 35 seconds left.
Saints coming off the corner. Campbell steps up. Oh, yeah, this is intercepted by Vilma. He's coming up the sideline. He stepped out of bounds. This is going to be the Saints' ball.
Vilma's interception was run back to the Saints' 46-yard line, and after getting a few more yards, the Saints would try a 58-yard field goal by returning kicker Garrett Hartley, but the kick fell short. In overtime, Redskins running back Mike Sellers is ruled by replay to have fumbled the football, recovered by Saints defensive back Chris McAllister. The Saints would officially have the ball at the Redskins' 39-yard line. They would slowly drive down the field, and then with 8:40 left, it was time for Garrett Hartley to come on the try, an 18-yarder.
So here's the field goal attempt by Hartley, and it is good. Let's go home, everybody, as 12-0 champions of the NFC South.
Final score, Saints 33, Redskins 30. Previous kicker John Carney is kept as a kicking consultant for the season's remainder. A week later, at Atlanta, with 4:46 to go, the Saints' Garrett Hartley makes a 38-yard field goal on a drive that lasted over 8 minutes, giving the Saints the lead 26-23. And then the key play with 1:18 to go, 4th down and 2 near the midfield stripe.
Redmond underneath, the catch is made, and he did not make it. Snelling was knocked back by Vilma, who has an interception and now makes a 4th down play. Falcons went to the well one too many times, and this time the Saints were expecting it on 4th and short, and Vilma, who was soft, he just drove on it and saw it the entire way.
Drew Brees surpasses the 30,000 passing yardage mark in his NFL career. The Saints defense gave up 392 yards in the contest, but the club clinched a first-round bye in the playoffs. On Saturday night, December 19th, Saints lose their first game of the year, 24-17 to Dallas in the Superdome. Dallas led 24-3 through 3 quarters. Saints scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and had a last chance to tie the game after Dallas's Nick Folk misses a 24-yard field goal with 2:11 to go. But Saints quarterback Drew Brees fumbles with 12 seconds to go near midfield. Cowboys wide receiver Miles Austin has 139 yards and a touchdown catch. Cowboys defense has 4 sacks, an interception, and 2 fumble recoveries. Drew Brees' touchdown pass to wide receiver Lance Moore sets a Saints franchise career record with 121 TD passes. Saints linebacker Jonathan Vilma has 14 tackles. Defensive end Will Smith has 2 sacks. The team has 3. Thomas Morstead averages 50.3 yards per punt. And then 8 days later, the Saints host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs slowly came back and tied the game with 2:41 left in regulation on this punt return.
Spurlock takes it at the 24-yard line. Spurlock across midfield. And Spurlock is going to take it all the way. Michael Spurlock into the end zone, 77 yards for a Tampa Bay touchdown.
He would have 196 return yards on the day. The Saints then drive 55 yards for Garrett Hartley to attempt a 37-yard field goal with 9 seconds left in regulation.
The kick by Hartley. It's no good. Wide to the left. It's Hartley's first career miss under 50 yards.
So the game goes to overtime. The Bucs get the ball first, but don't give it up.
The kick by Barth is straight through, and the Buccaneers coming to New Orleans, come back from a 17-point deficit and defeat the Saints in overtime.
Final score, 20-17, Tampa Bay. Darren Sharper becomes the NFL's record holder for most interception return yards in a season, which turned out to be 376 at season's end. Quarterback Drew Brees ties the Saints club record with 34 touchdown passes on the season, and in the contest through 19 straight completions. Saints cornerback Malcolm Jenkins has 10 tackles. The Saints defense has 3 sacks and 2 interceptions. One day later, when Minnesota lost to Chicago Chicago, the Saints clinched home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. On January 3rd, 2010, the Saints lose at Carolina 23-10. The Saints' only touchdown by running back Lionel Hamilton.
And then they snap it, and Hamilton takes it into the end zone, a touchdown.
To finish off with that kind of drive gives them something to build on going into the bye week before the playoffs.
The Saints finished the 2009 season 13-3, then best record in club history. Saints quarterback Drew Brees sat out the game and became the NFL's all-time season completion percentage leader at 70.6. Saints Sean Payton is later named NFL Coach of the Year by several organizations. It was definitely a year for the defense, where Will Smith has 13.5 sacks. The team has 26 interceptions. Darren Sharper has 9 of those, with 3 run back for touchdowns. The defense scores 8 total touchdowns. The Saints score 141 points after takeaways and lead the regular season in total offense and scoring. The Saints were the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, and after a bye week would host the Arizona Cardinals in divisional round action on January 16, 2010. The day before, running back Deuce McAllister was re-signed to the active roster, where some felt Sean Payton did so out of loyalty to Deuce and to help fans rally, where the previous 2 weeks, many fans voiced concern on how no NFL team that had lost their last 3 regular season games, such as the 2009 Saints, went to the Super Bowl that same season. The Saints would go on to defeat the Cardinals 45-14, although the Cardinals scored on the game's first offensive play, a 70-yard touchdown run by running back Tim Hightower. The Saints took control the rest of the way.
Thomas goes in motion right to left. Give it off. Hamilton right side, and he is in for the touchdown. Lionel Hamilton on a 1-yard touchdown dive. Cardinals bring 4. Here's Brees stepping up, can't find anybody. Now he throws at the goal line, and it is caught for the touchdown by Shackey. A brilliant throw by Brees, who zipped that football in at the goal line. Shackey coming down with a 17-yard touchdown reception. Here's a run left side. It's Reggie Bush breaking free. Bush to the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Bye-bye birdies. He's in the end zone. A 46-yard touchdown gallop. Brees, pitch back, flea flicker. Brees loads and locks it and throws it downfield, and it is caught by Henderson at the goal line for the touchdown. 44 yards on the touchdown reception. Brees looking to his left, throws, and it is going to be caught by Colston for a touchdown. Right in front of Bryant McFadden. Snap back to the left-footed Booner. The end-over-end effort will be taken in by Reggie Bush at the 18-yard line. Running to his right now, cutting it upfield. He's got room. He's up to the 40, 45, midfield 50. Running down the near sideline. Graham won't even contest him. Bye-bye birdies. Good for 83 yards. Reggie. Well, he is having the game of his career today.
Safety Darren Sharper has a fumble recovery. Cardinals quarterback Kurt Warner retires after the game, and Deuce McAllister would do the same on January 19th. And then the date of January 24th arrives. The Saints host the Minnesota Vikings in the Louisiana Superdome for the NFC Championship and the right to go to Super Bowl 44. The Vikings and Saints would swap touchdowns in the first half. Minnesota a 19-yard run by Adrian Peterson, the Saints a 38-yard pass reception by Pierre Thomas, and then Minnesota a 5-yard reception by Sidney Rice, and in the second quarter, a Devery Henderson 9-yard touchdown pass reception. With 1:24 to go in the first half, Reggie Bush fumbles a punt at the Saints' 10-yard line. That's recovered by the Vikings' Kenny Onatolu. 24 seconds later, Brett Favre fumbles the football, and that's recovered by Saints linebacker Scott Fujita, also at the New Orleans 10. The first half would end shortly afterwards. And the rest of the game would get even more exciting. The second half kickoff return by the Saints' Courtney Roby was run back 61 yards. That would lead a couple of minutes later to Pierre Thomas scoring on a 9-yard run. And then with 7:40 to go in the third quarter, Vikings' Adrian Peterson had a 1-yard touchdown run. With 2:06 to go, the Saints' Jonathan Vilma intercepts a Brett Favre pass and runs it back to the Saints' 31-yard line. The Saints end up punting after the interception. Then with 14:21 left in the fourth quarter,
1st and 10 up at the 27-yard line of Minnesota. Harvin drops the ball, and it's on the ground. It's still on the ground. Saints try to cover it up. It's loose. Scooping and scoring. The Saints are trying to do so. It's Remy Adell who picks it up. He won't be in the end zone, but finally the Saints are able to come up with the loose ball.
the ball was returned to the Vikings' 7-yard line, and then with 12:48 left in regulation,
3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. Brees in the shotgun. Looks over the middle. steps up, can't find anybody, rolls to his right, looks around, throws to the 1-yard line, and it is going to be out of bounds just short of the goal line with Reggie Bush taking it in.
After reviewing the play, the receiver broke the play to the goal line.
The Vikings tried to drive downfield and score again, but then with 9:45 left in the fourth quarter.
2nd and 8 from the 18. Two receivers to the left for Favre. He looks in that direction, throws it over the middle, catch made. Berrien drops the ball, stripped by the Saints. They've covered it up at the 6-yard line. The Saints take the ball away again. Jonathan Vilma covers it up.
And then with 5:52 in the contest, Tracy Porter is called for pass interference, which results in an 18-yard mark-off for the Vikings. As a result, with 5:03 left,
Favre, hands off Peterson, left side with second effort. He is in for the touchdown. And the Vikings with the extra point will make this a new ball game with just under 5 minutes to play. A 2-yard touchdown run.
the touchdown made it a 28-28 tie. The Vikings would get the ball once again and drive down to the New Orleans 33-yard line when with 19 seconds left, this call was made.
12 men in the huddle.
As a result, the Vikings are moved back to the 38-yard line. A field goal attempt at this point would have been 55 yards. So the Vikings decide to run another play.
Favre, half roll out to the right, has all sorts of time, throws it, intercepted. This is Tracy Porter. He's coming back with it to the 40. He's to the 45 and taken down at the Saints 47-yard line with 7 seconds remaining in regulation.
And he ran to the right, and that's the cardinal sin of a quarterback. Throw the ball across your body into the middle of the field. He did it right there, threw it right into the arms of Tracy Porter.
So the game goes to overtime. The Saints win the toss and elect to receive. Pierre Thomas takes the following kickoff and runs it back to the Saints' 39-yard line. Two key plays that follow include, with 11:52 to go in the extra period, Saints tight end David Thomas is interfered with by the Vikings' Ben Lieber, and that moves the ball from the Minnesota 41 to the Minnesota 29. Then with 11 minutes to go, Robert Meacham catches a pass to the Minnesota 22. Shortly afterwards, with 10:19 left in the extra period, it was time for Garrett Hartley to chisel his name in Saints immortality.
Snap, placement, kick by Hartley, and it is good! It's good! It's good! Pigs have flown! Hell is frozen over! The Saints are on their way to the Super Bowl!
Is there a city anywhere in America that deserves this more than the New Orleans Saints?
Despite the Vikings outdoing the Saints in first downs 31-15 and in offensive yards 475 to 257, it was time to head to Miami and get ready for destiny in Super Bowl 44. During the bye week before the Super Bowl, the late Buddy Diliberto was honored in the Buddy D dress parade. Diliberto was known for stating that if the Saints went to the Super Bowl, he'd wear a dress. Sadly, he would pass away in 2005, and radio host Bobby Hebert agreed to lead the parade from the Superdome to the French Quarter. A crowd of 20,000 was expected, and police estimates turned out to be 85,000, a definite prelude of things to come. And finally, the long-awaited day arrives, February 7, 2010. The Saints play in their first ever Super Bowl, game number 44, before 74,059 in attendance. The kickoff temperature was 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is rather cool for the area of South Florida in which the game was being played. Their opponent, the Indianapolis Colts, led by New Orleans native Payton Manning. The first half was a bit of a stalemate. There was 7:34 left in the first quarter. Matt Stouffer of the Colts makes a 38-yard field goal, and then with 42 seconds left in the first period, their running back Pierre Garçon has a 19-yard touchdown reception from Peyton Manning. With 9:40 to go in the second quarter, Garrett Hartley makes a 46-yard field goal. That would be the first of 3 field goals he would make on the day from 40-plus yards out, which set a Super Bowl precedent. With 8:14 left to go in the first half, New Orleans would get the ball at its own 28-yard line and slowly drive down the field, and then with 1:55 left in the first half, running back Pierre Thomas is stopped on a 4th and goal situation from the 1-yard line. The Saints would hold the Colts at bay, forcing them to punt with 46 seconds left. In return, the Saints would end up with the ball at their own 48-yard line, and then get enough yardage with 5 seconds left. Garrett Hartley makes a 44-yard field goal. Halftime score, Colts 10, Saints 6. The Saints would kick off to start the second half, and head coach Sean Payton decided to go to the bag of tricks.
Steps into the football, and it's an onside kick. And it's going to be covered up by Chris Reese, I believe. He had it momentarily. They're still fighting for it. No indication as yet. There's the first indication. And after the Who plays at halftime, maybe maybe it's the Colts who are saying we won't get fooled again, because the Saints fooled them to begin the second half with an onside kick and came away with it.
With 11:50 to go in the third quarter, it leads to this Saints score.
1st and 10 Saints from the 16-yard line of the Colts. Play action. Brees sets up the screen. Pierre Thomas. Thomas still on his feet. Down to the 5. Makes the move. He's going to score. 16 yards as Pierre Thomas puts the Saints in the end zone for the first time tonight and puts them in the lead for the first time after they were down 10-0 in the first quarter.
The Saints are now up 13-10, but the Colts would reply with a 76-yard drive that included a tight end Dallas Clark 27-yard reception that eventually leads with 6:21 to go in the third quarter.
1st and goal at the 4-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. O'Dye right side, and he spins off a tackle and scores. Jonathan Vilma had him at the 4, couldn't wrap him up. O'Dye spun off that tackle and was able to go into the end zone standing up.
And then the Saints replied with 2:06 left in the third quarter.
Looks to be about a 47-yard field goal attempt from the left hash mark. Hartley's 2 out of 2, has this one on its way, and it is good. He is 3 out of 3.
Indianapolis gets the ball back, and with 10:44 left in the fourth quarter, Matt Stouffer misses a 51-yard field goal attempt that gives the Saints the football, and then with 5:46 left in the fourth.
2nd and goal from the 2. Saints trailing 17-16. Thomas in the backfield. Here's the throw to Shockey, and it's a touchdown. Jeremy Shockey in the slot to the right. Gets inside Jacob Lacey. The Saints are back in the end zone on a 2-yard touchdown strike and back in the lead.
At that moment, it was 22-17, so Sean Payton elects to go for a 2-point conversion.
Here's Brees rolling to his right. Throwing. The reception is made. No, he couldn't make it by Lance Moore, and he made a juggle of the football and really wasn't in the end zone anyway. Even if he'd come down with it, it would have been around the 1-yard line. Juggled the football, had it on his fingertips as he was down, but still in possession of the ball. The Colts, Lacey, came over and hit it with his foot.
During the play, the receiver had possession of the ball with the ball breaking the plane of the goal line. The points are clear.
There you go. Good job, Lance Moore.
Now the Saints are up 24-17. The Colts get the ball at their own 30-yard line following the kickoff with 5:35 left in the fourth quarter. They would slowly drive down the field, but then with 3:24 left in the game.
3rd and 5 from the New Orleans 31. 2 receivers to the left, Garcon to the right. Manning in the shotgun puts Collie in motion. Looks in his direction. Picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter again! He's running free! He's going to go all the way! Hand out stretch! It is a Saint touchdown! 70 yards on the return! 70 yards on the return by Porter! He did it to Favre, and now he's done it to Manning!
I'm going to tell you what, Tracy Porter knew that route was coming and jumped it. Payton Manning threw it right to him. He was the only guy left out there to tackle Tracy Porter. Porter ducks to the inside, got that big break when you needed it.
And took it 70 yards for the score. Wow!
Porter's interception run back was officially a 76-yard return. That play was the only turnover in the entire game. New Orleans seals their first ever Super Bowl victory, 31-17. Here's Sean Payton at the Super Bowl trophy presentation.
We talked about it at halftime, and it's a credit to every one of these players here. There's not enough room on this stage for all of them, but they carried out the plan. I'm proud of this team, the coaching staff, everybody back in New Orleans gets a piece of this trophy. Here we go.
Drew Brees is named the MVP of the contest, and here's some of his words with the trophy presentation.
We just believed in ourselves, and we knew that we had an entire city and maybe an entire country behind us. And what can I say? I've tried to imagine what this moment would be like for a long time, and it's even better than expected. But God is great, and we've got the best ownership family in the league, best head coach, best general manager and the best team, and we proved that here tonight. Just feeling like it was all meant to be. It's all destiny. Thank you. Yeah, Mardi Gras may never end. The celebration's not going to end.
Drew Brees would tie a Super Bowl record with 32 completions in a contest. Peyton Manning would have 31. The Saints are the first team to beat 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in one postseason. They are the only team ever to be down by at least 7 points in 3 playoff games in one season and come back to win them all. Even harder to believe, 17 Saints on the 2009 roster were not taken in the NFL draft. 2 days later, New Orleans celebrates the Saints' first ever Super Bowl win with a victory parade that started at the Superdome and ended near Mardi Gras World. Police estimate some 800,000 people attended the event, easily a record crowd for any organized parade in city history. Here's some comments from head coach Sean Payton atop the float he was riding.
Everybody that's here tonight can't touch this. And I know on behalf of the team, the organization, we just wish you could spend one night with it. Because your support and just your following means so much to us. And we thank you, and we'll see you again this time next year.
And aboard another float, here's some words from Drew Brees.
All right, well, this toast goes out to you. We love you, and we won that championship for you. Hey! Thank you, New Orleans.
Winning a championship was a great way for the Saints to end the decade of the 2000s. However, we won't end the decade until we go through our list of who we thought were the better players for the black and gold in the decade. Quarterback, Drew Brees. Running backs, Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush. Fullback, Mike Carney. Wide receivers, Joe Horn and Marcus Colston. Tight end, Billy Miller. Offensive tackles, John Stinchcomb and Jamal Brown. Guards, Jari Evans and LaCharles Bentley. Center, Jerry Fontenot. Defensive ends, Charles Grant and Will Smith. Defensive tackles, Norman Hand and Brian Young. Linebackers, Scott Fujita, Jonathan Vilma, Charlie Clemens, and Scott Shanley. Cornerbacks, Mike McKenzie and Fred Thomas. Safeties, Darren Sharper and Roman Harper. Kicker, John Carney. Punter, Mitch Berger. Return specialist, Michael Lewis. Special teams coverage man, Steve Gleason. Deep snapper, Kevin Hauser. And holder, Toby Going. The 2010 Saints stayed mainly intact, coming off the Super Bowl championship. 2 free agent losses were linebacker Scott Fujita and running back Mike Bell. The Saints' college draft selections included cornerback Patrick Robinson, tackle Charles Brown, and tight end Jimmy Graham. 2 undrafted rookies were defensive end Junior Gillette and running back Chris Ivory. 11 days after winning the Thursday, September 9th season opener, 14-9 over the Vikings, it was off to San Francisco for a Monday night contest. Reggie Bush injures his leg on a punt return and ends up missing a few games. With 1:23 to go, 49ers running back Frank Gore's touchdown and team's 2-point conversion ties the game. Then the Saints drive from their own 30-yard line to the 49ers end of the field, where Garrett Hartley is called upon.
From 37 yards, kick is on its way, doesn't have a whole lot of leg, but it's good!
Oh, it's good. That's all that matters. And boy, was that a wounded duck going over the crossbar.
Angels on the uprights for the Saints tonight.
Final score, Saints 25-22. Saints defense has 4 turnovers. 6 days later versus the Falcons in the Superdome, the Saints tied a game with 9 seconds left in regulation on a 32-yard Hartley field goal. Then in overtime, Hartley attempts the game-winning 29-yarder.
There's Kyle Snap, Morstead's hold, and Hartley's kick. Missed it. He missed it wide to the left. Snap hooked it.
2 minutes left in the extra period. The Saints called timeout before a Falcons field goal attempt that would have been blocked by safety Chris Reese. Not long after, Matt Bryant attempts the winning field goal.
46 yards, left hash mark. Bryant lines it up. Snap, placement, kick on its way. Plenty of leg, and it is good. And the Falcons will go home with a rare victory in the Superdome. And there's not a lonelier person in this place right now than Garrett Hartley.
Final score 27-24 Atlanta. On October 3rd, the Saints win at home over Carolina 16-14, where John Carney is brought back as kicker and makes 3 field goals. A week later at Arizona, the Saints turned the ball over 4 times, including 2 interceptions, run back for touchdowns, in a 30-20 loss. The Saints would finish the season with 31 turnovers. The club rebounded a week later at Tampa Bay 31-6, where running back Chris Ivory has 158 rushing yards and leads the 2010 Saints with 716. On October 17th, Brees would throw 4 interceptions and for the second time in 3 games had 2 of them run back for touchdowns. In this case, both by Browns defensive end David Bowens in a 30-17 loss where Garrett Hartley returns as kicker. At the end of the season, it was disclosed that Drew Brees had a partial ACL tear that affected him for 6 games. The reason the Saints didn't have to report it is because Brees was never held out of practice. The Saints then won 6 in a row, starting on Halloween night versus the Steelers 20-10. The Saints offense is held to 30 rushing yards, and TD catches by Saints wide receivers Marcus Colston and Lance Moore didn't occur until the 4th quarter. That was followed by a 34-3 win at Carolina, which included cornerback Jabari Greer with a 24-yard interception return for touchdown, plus Saints tight ends Jeremy Shockey and Jimmy Graham also having touchdowns. The Saints defense would have 4 sacks. A win over Seattle follows. Then on November 25th, the Saints play at the Cowboys in the Black and Gold's first ever Thanksgiving Day game. Saints have a 20-6 halftime lead thanks to 2 Chris Ivory touchdown runs. The Cowboys come back to take the lead, and then with 3:20 to go,
here's Kitna from the shotgun, throws quick slant. Roy Williams wide open, 35-30, 25-20, down to the 10, and he'll be taken down there. Ball comes free. Saints have stolen it. Malcolm Jenkins has it in his hands. Saints football! Oh, baby! Malcolm Jenkins gives the Saints a heartbeat.
the Saints then drive 89 yards in just over a minute, and then with 2 minutes to go,
here's Brees, play action, looking, throwing into the end zone, caught by Lance Moore for the touchdown! Mighty Mouse comes to the rescue as he got inside Mike Jenkins.
Afterwards, the Cowboys miss a 59-yard field goal attempt on the final play. Saints win 30-27. Thomas Morstead averages 60 yards per punt. 10 days later at Cincinnati, late in the contest, the Saints at the Bengals 7-yard line draw off defensive tackle Pat Sims for a first down that is followed by a 3-yard touchdown catch by wide receiver Marcus Colston for a 34-30 win that was sealed by a last-play sack by Saints safety Roman Harper. 1 week later, the Saints beat the Rams 31-13. Colston has 2 touchdown catches. Cornerback Malcolm Jenkins has an interesting play.
Bradford's pass and is intercepted by Malcolm Jenkins. Bradford misses him. Jenkins all the way for the touchdown. 96 yards. And how things change in a hurry.
The Saints defense had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. The winning streak ends with a loss at Baltimore 30-24. Ravens defense has 3 turnovers and running back Ray Rice has 233 combined yards. On Monday night, December 27th, the Saints became the first NFC South team, which was created in 2002, to qualify for the playoffs in consecutive years by winning at Atlanta 17-14. The final Saints points involved driving 90 yards and using almost 7 minutes, ending with a 6-yard touchdown catch by Jimmy Graham. The Saints close out the 2010 regular season with a record of 11-5 and a 23-13 loss in the Superdome to Tampa Bay, where many starters were pulled once Atlanta was assured of winning their game as well as the division title. Injuries to Malcolm Jenkins, Chris Ivory, and Jimmy Graham in this contest would prevent them from participating in postseason action. On January 8, 2011, the Saints played a wild card round playoff game at Seattle. Even though the Seahawks had a 7-9 record, they are awarded a higher seed as NFC West Division champ. The Saints would lose 41-36. The clinching Seahawks touchdown was scored with 3:38 to go.
2nd and 10, Seahawk 33. Backs offset. Lynch again, left side. Marshawn Lynch with second effort, has the first down, and he's still on his feet in the Saints territory. 40, 35, pushes away a defender, down to the 20, down to the 15, down to the 5. He will score.
That's one of the things that you'll get when you got guys trying to strip the football instead of making a tackle. And he never decided to go down.
The run symbolized the Saints' sloppy defensive play that day. Drew Brees throws for 404 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Running back Julius Jones, 2 touchdown runs. Garrett Hartley, 3 field goals. Seattle quarterback Matt Hasselbeck has 4 touchdown passes. Seattle became the first NFL team with a losing record to enter the postseason and win a postseason game. The offseason leading into the 2011 Saints campaign featured the departures of tight end Jeremy Shockey because of Jimmy Graham's performance, and safety Darren Sharper, who later retired. Running back Reggie Bush was traded to Miami for a 6th-round pick, and safety Jonathan Amaya. Tackle John Stinchcomb decided to retire in preseason. The Saints' 2 first-round selections were defensive end Cameron Jordan and running back Mark Ingram. On July 29th, the Saints signed running back return man Darren Sproles from the Chargers. With center Jonathan Goodwin leaving for the 49ers, the Saints signed center Olin Kreutz from the Bears, but after an injury and feeling wear and tear had caught up with him, he retired after 6 games at age 34. Brian De La Puente would replace him. Kicker Garrett Hartley is gone for the year after suffering a significant hip injury during preseason and is replaced with former Panther John Casey. Thursday night season opener was at Green Bay. The Saints down 21-7 in the first half, slowly came back, featuring this score.
Tim Mastay punts it away. Darren Sproles retreats to the 29, runs to his left, and he's got a hole. He's up to the 45 midfield, to the 40. Only the punter to beat. He'll outrun him down the far sideline. 10, 5, touchdown, Darren Sproles, 71 yards long.
Does a great job of reading his blockers as they're getting out in front of him.
The Saints drove 79 yards in the last 108 of the game, where following a defensive pass interference penalty, the Saints had an untimed down at the 1-yard line, where running back Mark Ingram falls short up the middle. Final score 42-34 Packers. 4 wins in a row followed, including October 9th at Carolina, 30-27. With 57 seconds to go, the Saints cap off an 89-yard drive with this pass.
At the Panther 6-yard line, where it is 2nd and 1. 13th play of this drive. Play action. Brees going to throw underneath. Pierre Thomas to the goal line. Touchdown, Saints! And the Saints have driven the length of the field for the go-ahead score.
The streak ended at Tampa Bay 26-20, where Drew Brees has 3 interceptions, including from the Bucs' 4-yard line by linebacker Quincy Black with 3:24 to go. During the contest, Saints head coach Sean Payton injured his tibia and meniscus when tight end Jimmy Graham was pushed into him on a sideline tackle. His coordinators took over the play calling duties for the rest of the game. He would either coach from the press box or on crutches for a few games to follow. The next week in the newly named Mercedes-Benz Superdome on Sunday night, the Saints set a club record for most points in a quarter at 21, most points in a game, and largest margin of victory in a 62-7 win over the Colts.
Here's a shot by Brees into the end zone, and the catch is made for another touchdown for Marcus Colston. 2nd and goal from the 6. Brees in the shotgun. Throws at the goal line. This will be a touchdown to Sproles. Sproles caught it at the 1 and just danced into the end zone between a pair of Colt defenders who look at one another in total disbelief. It's going to go to the fullback, and he will be stopped short.
No, they gave it to him.
Wow.
They did. They gave him a touchdown. The official on the far side, he saw where Jed Collins was and awarded him a touchdown.
Rolling right, Brees pulls it down, throws it low. Jimmy Graham to the goal line, slides over for the touchdown. The ball was thrown low and a little bit behind him. He went down and took it in, just as easy as that. Here's Sproles again, right side this time. Sproles inside the 10. Sproles on his feet. Sproles will score. Painter, play action. Under pressure, hit by Charleston, and this will be an interception by Torrance. Lee Torrance inside the 30, 25-20, still on his feet, 15-10. Nobody wants to tackle him until he's in the end zone for the score. 42 yards on the interception return.
Saints offense has 557 total yards. Defense has 2 fumble recoveries. The next week, the Saints were upset at the St. Louis Rams 31-21 in the first half's last 2 minutes. The Rams block a punt, setting up 1 touchdown. Then Brees throws an interception to defensive back Josh Gordy, setting up another one. Rams safety Darian Stewart runs back a 27-yard interception for touchdown in the 4th quarter. Their defense has 6 sacks, including Chris Long with 3. The Saints would rebound and win their remaining regular season games to go 13-3 and set an NFL season record with fewest fumbles lost with 6. Wins within this streak include at Atlanta in overtime. The Falcons scored 10 points late in the 4th quarter, including a Matt Bryant tying 27-yard field goal in the last play of regulation, capping off an 85-yard drive. In overtime, Atlanta tries a 4th and 1 from their own 29-yard line.
Backs and an eye, tailback is Turner. They put White in motion. Ryan still up under center. They give it to Turner. Turner does not get it. Does not get it. It goes over to the Saints at the 29-yard line. Malcolm Jenkins and a host of other Saints come up and stone Michael Turner at the line of scrimmage, and the Falcon gamble fails.
The stop allows the Saints' John Casey to try his 4th field goal of the game.
Drescher to snap. Daniel puts it down. Casey's kick is up, and it is good, and the Saints have won. The Saints in overtime on a 26-yard John Casey field goal. One of the greatest games in the long and storied history of this tremendous rivalry.
Final score, Saints 26-23. December 11th at Tennessee, the Titans drive 75 yards in the last 134 of the contest when quarterback Jake Locker is sacked at the 5-yard line by Saints linebacker Jolon Dunbar to seal the 22-17 win. A record-breaking Monday night, December 26th, a 45-16 win at home over Atlanta. Besides cornerback Malcolm Jenkins having a 30-yard fumble return for touchdown and Thomas Morstead averaging 52 yards per punt, Drew Brees becomes the NFL's single-season passing yards record holder, which at season's end was 5,476.
And there it is, a 9-yard strike right over the middle to Darren Sproles. Move over, Marino. There's a Brees coming through the door. Drew Brees has just broken Dan Marino's single-season passing yardage record that was set way back in 1984, and the fans rise as one as you can hear the chant of Drew, Drew, Drew.
The Saints gain 617 total yards in the season finale versus Carolina, 45-17. Saints set NFL season records including Brees 468 completions, the team with 416 first downs and 7,474 offensive yards, Darren Sproles with 2,696 all-purpose yards, and a home game point record with 329. Saints punter Thomas Morstead sets a club season record with a 47.9-yard average. Saints go 8-0 at home for the first time ever. Wide receiver Marcus Colston has his 5th 1,000-yard receiving season. Tight end Jimmy Graham also goes over 1,000 yards. Safety Roman Harper leads with 7.5 sacks. The offensive line, consisting of regulars Brian Delapuente, Jari Evans, Carl Nix, Jermon Bushrod, and Zach Street, wins the John Madden Most Valuable Protectors Award, second time in 3 years. The Saints host a first-round wildcard contest versus the Lions, despite Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson having 211 yards and linebacker Justin Durant with 2 fumble recoveries. The Saints pull out a 45-28 win with 626 total yards, and for the second time in postseason history, have 2 100-yard receivers in Robert Meacham and Marcus Colston. 6 days later at San Francisco, the Saints committed 5 turnovers and still had a chance to win, where 4 lead changes occurred in the last 5 minutes of the game. First, with 4:11 to go,
throws over the middle, Sproles! Sproles down to the 25, Sproles to the 20, Sproles to the 10, Sproles rolls into the end zone on a 44-yard touchdown strike.
Then with 2:18 to go,
from the Saint 27, Smith is in the shotgun. He's going to run it to the sideline. He's got blocking in front. Smith is going to run down the sideline, and he is going to score.
With 1:48 left in the contest,
Brees calls for the football. Niners bring 4. Brees under pressure, throws it downfield for Graham, makes the catch. 30, 25, 20, 10, down to the 5, and Graham will score. Holy cow, you gotta be kidding me.
Saints up by 3 with 40 seconds to go.
Here's Smith stepping up and delivering. It's Davis once more, beats Jenkins, and now he's beating Harper, and now he goes down the far sideline and is knocked out of bounds all the way down at the 20-yard line of New Orleans.
And then finally with 14 seconds left on the clock.
So on 3rd and 4, Smith will stand in the shotgun. Throws the ball over the middle. The catch is made at the goal line. Touchdown. And it's Vernon Davis again, who has absolutely killed the Saints. In front of Roman Harper, that's a 14-yard touchdown strike with 9 seconds remaining.
Final score, 36-32 49ers. This was the first game in Saints history where they had 3 100-yard receivers, Colston, Sproles, and Graham. It was a tough loss to take, but definitely a memorable, if not historic, way to end the season.